The door opened up one snowy day. In came a princess from lands unknown, her fingers numb and clothing frayed, lost and alone without a home. I poured a drink and sought to learn, why was she sitting by my fire? Her fingers shook but her voice was firm. She disobeyed her father's desire. A noble marriage was her fate, an increase in power by leaps and bounds. But the lad himself was not so great. She called him dumber than his hounds. The tavern roared with laughs and cheers when the king was called a stubborn ass. But sharp eyes noticed a few stray tears, so I made a toast and raised my glass. Here's to the outcasts, here's to the misfits, here's to the ones without a home. Here's to the outcasts, here's to the misfits, we'll make this in one of our own. Here's to the outcasts, here's to the misfits, here's to the ones without a home. Here's to the outcasts, here's to the misfits, we'll take them all from lands unknown. A rider burst in on a summer day, having barely saved his skin. The church had tried to ban his play. He told them to piss off with a grin. The bishop saw